Welcome back to the Make Some Noise podcast season 2. In this week's podcast, we're going to be covering the updated protest laws in New South Wales. Then it's going to be followed by Silly Hour, which we have a little bit of a surprise, and I think it's going to be a little longer than usual too, so strap in for that. And to end things, we're going to be going over the recent SRC meeting. Welcome to our first segment for this week's podcast. We're going to be going over some of the new updates regarding the protest laws in New South Wales. Joining me today in the studio are Ren Woodward and Joseph Belia. Now, just to sort of throw it out to both of you first, can you guys just give me like a quick rundown, and to all the listeners at home, just what is the current situation with the protest laws?
Yeah, I can cover that. Just quick disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, so don't rely on anything I said as legal advice.
Yes, okay. Anything said on this podcast is very much not legal advice. Please do not hold us accountable for your own actions. Please seek an actual proper legal counsel.
Yeah, so if you do encounter legal issues relevant to anything we discussed today, just make sure you're consulting a legal professional. You can look up community legal centres on Google. There's quite a few of them around if you do need legal assistance. But yeah, the new law essentially amends two existing laws. First, it amends the Crimes Act, so that's the general criminal law in New South Wales, and this adds a new criminal offence making it illegal to block, impede, hinder, harass, intimidate, or threaten people accessing or leaving a place of worship, with a maximum penalty of 200 penalty units, which is a fine, or 2 years in prison, or both. But this law doesn't apply if the conduct is part of an industrial action, if it's a protest at Parliament House, or if police or those in charge of the place of worship give consent for certain activities. There's also a defence of reasonable excuse, so if you have an actual excuse for blocking or impeding someone. I think the key part of this amendment is the new the introduction of a place of worship as a concept. So that's a building or other structure ordinarily used for worship, and that includes a church, mosque, synagogue, and temple. And the second reading speech indicates that the definition was not intended to encapsulate places such as prayer rooms and multi-faith spaces. And then the second addition to the new law that was introduced is an amendment to the Law Enforcement Powers and Responsibilities Act, which is commonly referred to as LEPRA. This is the law that outlines most of the police's powers, such as their power to search people, to confiscate things, that sort of thing. The specific change is to the police's power to give directions to people, so essentially telling them to move on. Generally, police can give directions to move people along if they are being disturbance of some kind, and then failing to listen to the police and not moving on is a criminal offence. So it's only 2 penalty units, but obviously that's around $200, so it might not be nothing, but it's better than jail.
For sure. And for a lot of activists, a lot of those are going to be students and the like. And $200 for a broke uni student is a lot. All right. Thank you for the quick rundown. Let's start by discussing the first bit, the amendment to the Criminal Act. Now, I believe I read a statement from the New South Wales government that this amendment, specifically regarding the places of worship, was added due to the recent attacks on Jewish communities and synagogues, which, as somebody who hasn't looked into the law a lot, that seems to me like a very fair reason to add something. I mean, things like attacks on religious communities do happen infrequently, so I think having something to define that could actually be helpful. But what are the sort of like detractors to this?
Well, I would say that a lot of people are saying that that's actually completely unrelated to the law itself. Like, the reason that this is being implemented, it's not actually about protecting religious communities at all. It's more just giving the police more power to shut down protest. I mean, in New South Wales, we already have pretty backwards protest laws in terms of you already have to ask the police permission to hold a protest and them to approve that, which is pretty ridiculous in terms of having an effective protest. You need to do some disruption. If the police go, oh, you're too disruptive, you can't do your protest. And this is already just giving the police more power and more ability to shut down protests that might be effective. For example, like a lot of people are having problems with this specifically because it's starting to block one of the most effective areas to protest in Sydney, which is like in front of Town Hall, which is right next to the church there, and in front of Hyde Park, which has a bunch of religious places there as well. So a lot of it seems to not have been brought in like what the reasons they're saying, but instead to actually just shut down protests and give police more power.
That's a fantastic point. Thank you for bringing that up. So it's essentially just a proxy to help give the police more power in shutting down any actual useful protests. Like, I believe the protest against the Israeli genocide of the Palestinian people, that takes place around Town Hall, Hyde Park, I believe. So for sure, that would 100% completely disrupt any sort of proper movement there. If the police can just show up and say, hey, sorry, you're a little too close to the church here, you got to move on.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is against the idea of we obviously don't want people threatening like worshippers, right?
No, for sure.
But like it's just we already have laws against harassment, that sort of thing.
Right.
So it's a very specific law that is just clearly targeting like what concerns in the media are at the moment.
For sure. Great. Do you guys have any other comments about this particular law amendment?
On the crimes one, yeah, I don't think so. It's pretty straightforward on that part. We can move on to the
you said lepra?
Yeah, to the lepra amendment. Yeah. So I think the big concern with the police powers amendment is that currently the way that the law is structured is that it gives the general power for police to give directions to people and make them move on. But then there's meant to be limitations on this power. For example, they can't move on an industrial dispute, or they can't move on a genuine protest or assembly.
Is that sorry to cut you off? Is that defined in there what a genuine protest or assembly is, or is that also left kind of vague?
I think I don't think it's like expressly defined in that specific section. I'm not 100% sure about.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the provision that it's meant to limit the powers but then it has its own exceptions as well. So there's the rule, which is that they can give directions, and there's limitations on that rule, and there's exceptions to the limitations. So an exception to an exception, if you will. And this is where you would find that for example, the rule that police can move on protests that obstruct traffic. So the limitations do not extend to if you're obstructing traffic, for example. And essentially, after that traffic point, they've added that if your protest is not authorized, so you didn't apply for a permit in advance, your protest is occurring in or near a place of worship and doesn't meet the three exceptions of being industrial action, being at Parliament House, or you have consent from the police or those in charge of a place of worship, then the police can tell your protest to move along. And that, of course, has raised quite a few concerns.
Right. So it's just, again, further restrictions on protesting, which already restricts the very limited ability to protest in New South Wales.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's just continual backsliding to less people being able to have their voice in this specific way. And we all know that protest is like fundamental for democracy. Just getting a little bit more less democratic over time, just slowly. We can do it a little bit slowly. And it is a bit of a worrying trend, in my opinion.
Right, so this could be the start to an even bigger snowball of even further restrictions on protesting and any sort of demonstration towards uh, progressive ideals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, one of my main concerns is that the word near is pretty vague. So essentially, the way the law is drafted is that they attempt to give room for the courts to make sort of decision on what they consider near to be. And in the second reading speech, the Attorney General Michael Daly, he says that they introduced the phrase in or near based on what the previous section says, which says on or near. And that actually has been litigated to be defined, and the courts essentially said that it depends on circumstances. You can't really define you can't give an exact distance on what near means. And when making that decision, they actually referred back to an even earlier case that essentially said it's up to the police to determine, using their own discretion, to decide what is near, and if they overstep, then it's for the courts to address. But I think the concern is that if everything just is deferred back to the courts, that's going to be very costly for individuals. It's going to be costly for the taxpayer who has to pay for the court system, as well as the people to defend the existing laws. So
it's also just always just so much more stressful on the part of people who want to run the protest, even if they're trying to go as explicitly by the book as they possibly can, try to get no one in trouble, try to follow all the rules. If we just got to, but we've got to remember, be able to read all the police officers' minds and make sure that we are knowing exactly what they're going to define everything in this, because it's way too vague, so we can't actually follow the rules unless we know what the police officers are thinking. Just makes it more stressful, and people are probably going to want to do protests less, which is kind of part of it.
Right, so it's just another intimidation tactic, essentially, is, hey, don't protest, otherwise you might be taken to court.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The vagueness of that really does worry me. I mean, as you said, what does near mean? Yeah. You know, because having a defined understanding of what near means, whether it's, say, within 50 meters, that would give protesters a very reasonable radius to plan a protest around, to plan a demonstration around, make sure that they don't disrupt that particular religious gathering and maintain the law while still being able to use their democratic right to protest. But again, as you said, this really just hampers any ability to do this, especially in really urban areas. Yeah. Do you guys have any other remarks?
Not on this point.
No.
Fantastic. Well, I guess we'll wrap that section up. Thank you, Joseph and Ren, for joining me today. This was a very helpful chat, and I hope that the future of protesting in New South Wales and at UNSW as well hopefully doesn't backslide anymore. But yeah, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back to your favorite segment of the podcast. If you think I'm sounding a little more cheery than usual, that's because I am, because this is a very, very special edition of Silly Hour, because we have a different guest. And by different, I mean additional. Welcome back, Pepsi.
Pepsi's back.
They really don't want to be.
Lore here is Pepsi hates Silly Hour. Pepsi always cuts us off.
Pepsi wants to cancel us.
Pepsi has tried to cancel this segment.
I'm the one who has to edit Silly Hour every single week.
And thus Pepsi kind of hates us
Pepsi
for it,
prepped for this segment because I was potentially not going to be here, so they're going to join us anyway today. We have a couple of extra people watching us in the studio too, so the whole gang's here. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Whole,
it's like summer camp, except in a podcast studio.
Yes.
Before we start, can I just amend some Love is Blind things?
Sure.
Firstly, I got too many people mixed up, but that's their fault for all being white and looking the same. Like, this is the season where EDI had severe rollbacks, clearly.
Not only that, but there was like a couple of the contestants on this season of the show literally have been like going towards litigation because they had hours of footage about them and like a whole bunch of couples, a couple of which actually, two of them got married at the end, completely cut out of the
To
show.
be fair, I think that's like fine in normal reality TV. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
that's
people are
pretty
just boring.
usual.
No,
No.
but it wasn't
Okay, I
that
just want to
they
say
were
we
boring,
will
it's just
probably
they
speak about
kept
Love is
one-
Blind again, right?
we
We won't. Okay, I'm gonna say we're not gonna talk about Love is Blind again this season because it's so bad. That's all I wanted to say. I'm sorry I got people mixed up. It's their fault for not having an EDI department. And secondly, this season is so bad. It's
It
so
is pretty
uninteresting.
trash.
It's the worst season of Love is Blind.
But maybe that's
Fuck
what we
Dave.
can talk about.
Allegedly.
Fuck Dave.
Fuck Dave, and with that, we're gonna actually go into the proper introduction. Thank you for that.
So,
Already
Dia, do you want
very
to tell us what
silly
we're speaking
Dia
about this
stuff.
week?
Okay, so this is my idea.
Guys, let me introduce the damn guest. I mean, okay, so once again, you're joined by me, of course, and as always, I have with me in the studio Mia and Dia, our silly hour monarchs and overlords, and along with us is the actual overlord, Pepsi, who
Raw.
usually does the editing for this segment, and
Pepsi
once
hates
again,
us so much.
hates us for it.
Always.
But that's what's iconic about us. Now, with that, Dia, now you can go
Okay,
ahead.
finally. Okay, so I came up with this topic, and I think it's a great topic, which is things I refuse to believe are real. And so here's how I came up with the topic, and I think it'll, make you understand the topic, which is at work recently, at my silly little retail job, we got the new King Charles coins in the till. And I refuse to believe that King Charles is real. I think that he's like Santa Claus in the sense of if I don't believe in him, he ceases to exist. And so therefore, King Charles is something I refuse to believe is real. The second thing I have on my list. Also, Mia was like, what do you mean by this topic? And then when I gave Mia these two examples, Mia got it instantly.
I did.
So that's what I mean by like, this is a great example. So firstly, King Charles. Secondly, fraternal twins. You're just siblings at that point that want to be special. You're literally just siblings. Act like it.
I
You are
completely stand by this. I mean, come on. You were born like 20 seconds apart. Please don't act like that's anything special.
also
If
like
they're going to be twins, at least be interesting about it.
no, but like it's like stolen valor for the real twins. But, like, the
Be
real
identical or be nothing.
Yeah, be identical or be nothing.
I'm really glad you kept that stolen valor comment in because that is the funniest thing that made me. I usually have like a fake laugh I do just to like pass along conversations. That made me bring out like one of the most actually real laughs I've laughed in a while.
That's so
That's
sweet.
It was great. It was great. I loved it.
Okay, Mia, do you want to say two of yours?
I do want to say two of mine. The first one on my list is Mount Rushmore. I fucking refuse to believe that thing is real.
Okay, that's a good one.
Like genuinely, like it's not like a real thing at all. The other thing I refuse to believe is real. Okay, so I recently learned that I'm lactose intolerant, but I, for my entire life, thought that lactose intolerance was like just a phase and like not a real thing. So now I don't
mean,
believe
it
in
can
me.
be. It
Have
can
you
be.
read the research paper? There was a research paper that came out in like the 80s or the 90s, I think. I'll find the title and I'll dub it in here. But basically, the paper was basically like lactose intolerance is a skill issue. If you just drink enough milk, then your like gut will learn to process lactose, and then you'll be like
Lactose
able to like drink milk again.
I have multiple friends that have gotten over their lactose intolerance, whereas I grew into it.
Just
Yeah.
tolerate
Hey,
them.
you can grow into it and you can grow out of it.
You're
Which-
telling me you're intolerant?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's genuinely just a skill issue. Drink more milk, eat cheese, please.
No, but like there's actual research which backs this up as well, which is crazy. And I hate to bring
Fantastic.
science into silly hour, but
No,
Pepsi, you've made
we
this so
love-
unsilly and you've been here for all of 2 minutes.
welcome to serious hour.
Okay, Afnan, give us two of yours.
Okay, I'm gonna just randomly pick out two. Actually, one that I was gonna include before I knew that Pepsi was gonna be joining us. This was very last minute. I don't think Pepsi has a last name, and I refuse to believe Pepsi has a last
That is
name.
correct.
To me, Pepsi is just Pepsi.
Yep.
It's not Pepsi.
To me,
Cola,
Pepsi
it's
has a
nothing.
last name, but that's for personal reasons.
Pepsi does have a last name for personal reasons, yes.
It's just to like actually get like an ID.
I have a last name so that Dia has something to be upset at me about.
So true.
Fuck.
Oh, no, I can't say that. Never mind. I cannot say that on the
can swear,
podcast. I cannot start waging war on an entire bloodline on the podcast. This is not what I need to get cancelled for.
I mean, I feel like you've said enough already. That
I
you
don't
can
think it's
cancel.
defamation if it's a whole group of
Okay,
people
fuck
like
the
that.
Sharmas. Fuck anyone whose last name is Sharma.
You've
I
tried.
will personally stop it. I will personally throw hands with you if your last name is Sharma. Shout out Dave Sharma. Shout out Satvik Sharma. shout
Now
out
we're
my
getting into
evil ex.
defamation.
Yeah. All right. Two of mine. apart from Pepsi having a last name, which I will never believe that to the day I die.
Real.
Also, I don't believe Matthew McConaughey is a real person. That's
Who?
a horse. Matthew McConaughey, the actor.
What do you mean that's a horse?
You know
Have you
what?
seen
I
him?
see that. No, I see
He's
that.
built like a horse.
I don't know who Matthew McConaughey is. I don't think that
The
helps.
dude from Interstellar.
Well, that's why.
I have
Oh,
not seen
okay,
it.
Like,
yeah.
I think to me he's just a concept and not a person, and therefore I accept that. Can I just say, Pepsi, say your two, but after that we have categories that I've
Wait,
decided.
I forgot. I remember one of them.
Okay, what's one of yours?
It's not that I don't think it's real. It's that I think Newcastle is a psyop.
Okay, wait. Pause that. I'm gonna say that the next ones are just places we don't believe in. So if you
Oh,
want to do
yeah.
Newcastle,
Yeah, Newcastle is, it's not that it's not real, it's just that it's a psyop, because every time I go to a place named Newcastle, I end up with food poisoning. This has happened 7 times, including in the UK. So yeah, I think there's just something in the air in places called Newcastle, or maybe I've just like been a sleeper agent or something, and this is like my adverse reaction or whatever.
No, I'm 100% willing to corroborate that because I've been to Newcastle once and I was sick too. So I feel like it's something. I mean, it's got to be something, right?
Yeah, there's got to be something in the air in Newcastle.
Okay, so I have 4
Or
places.
Newcastle is just racist and is targeting brown men.
Maybe.
specifically.
I have 4 places that I do not believe are real. Okay,
4
places.
Tighten this
Number
section
1,
up.
Texas. Why is it so big? What is it hiding? Number 2, the Sutherland Shire. The only
Agreed.
Shire is
The Hillshire, rah.
What about the Byron Shire?
Not real.
What the fuck is a train service?
Number 3, New Mexico. The old one was fine.
That is true, I agree. The new one is not that good.
Yeah, and then lastly, the South Coast. I was
There's nothing
gonna
there.
say Coffs Harbour, but I've met enough people from Coffs Harbour to justify it being real, whereas I met the first person that I've ever met from the South Coast, so therefore it's not real, and he made it up.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The South Coast is just the road to Canberra and to Melbourne, and that's
To be
it.
fair, this person also defended fraternal twins, so I just think this person's a bit of a psyop, so therefore it's not real. The South
This
Coast
is as
is
you're
not
sending
real.
their spies to...
All right, moving on. Mia, give us a place.
All right. I have a few. The first one is the Vatican.
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think
Okay, that's
Yep.
a great one.
That
That's a good
shit's
one.
literally not real. The country of Malta also isn't real.
Yeah, real.
The reason I say that, and we have multiple people that we know from Malta, but like it's you. What Dia said the other day, which I really agree with, is that you always hear of like people from Malta, but you never hear about the country of Malta.
Yep.
Therefore, why is
Yeah.
it real? It's
Also,
not.
what's with the sovereign order? Like, they just have, like, a second country in Malta that doesn't have any territory? Yeah,
This
learn
is
about...
a future silly hour. I've never
Yeah.
heard of this.
Learn about...
You
next
keep on
time I'm
making
on...
this way too serious.
Next time I'm on Silly Hour, I'm just talking about UN law for the
Next
entire
time.
15 minutes. Oh yeah, you guys aren't invited next time.
There's not going to be a next time.
Pepsi's
The
gonna
other
be
place I
adding its
believe
own
is not
segment in
real
now.
is Kalara.
Yeah,
Kalara is not a real place. Like, what do you mean there's suddenly a whole forest except everyone has a mansion? It's weird.
yeah. I would add Dural to that list as well.
That sounds like the setting for some kind of a horror movie.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Which, to be fair, I would watch the hell out of.
I would put Dural and Kenthurst in that same category of like, there's nothing there except like people with large like plots of land and some random like private school.
Okay, next. Oh, do you have any places?
Yeah, England.
Okay.
No, because here's the thing.
All of it.
Not all of England. Specifically, I don't believe anything exists outside of like central England. There is no north, there is no south. It's just London and the surrounding like Essex, Sussex, and whatever the
You
other
don't
ones
believe in
Wessex?
Manchester?
Wessex. What?
Liverpool?
Manchester.
They have such fun accents.
Okay, no, I mean,
Shout out to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I don't
Up
believe
the-
in the Manchester accent.
Up the Reds.
I just feel like they're being dramatic about it because like it's a tiny ass country. Just stay in the one spot.
We're gonna get angry comments from Yorkshire. And we're definitely gonna get angry comments from Scotland and
You
Wales.
think we're gonna get
No,
any
no, no.
angry comments
See,
from the Sharmas?
I believe.
Yes, me.
Okay, you're making the mistake here of conflating England with the UK.
Yes, we're
Alright,
still gonna get angry comments from them
believe
anyway.
In Welsh and Scottish supremacy, I don't.
There's just a
believe
gap in the
England.
middle.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, like, look, the Irish are cool, the Scottish are cool, the Welsh are very cool. What does England bring to the table?
Colonialism.
Yeah.
That,
This is what happens when you put 3 brown people in the studio.
A king that doesn't exist is what they bring.
Yeah, true. A not real king. Okay, the next category of things I have are people, preferably celebrities, but before we do celebrities, I want to say Mia's cousin Kim is not real.
Yep.
I hear a
Anyone
wild
who knows
story.
The cousin Kim lore goes really deep. This is not something I'm legally allowed to explain on the podcast, but the cousin Kim lore goes crazy, and he's really not real.
Mia
It's
tells a
true.
family story, and every time the cousin Kim like enters the story, I'm just like, not a real person. This is a concept that you've invented
he's a
to
bit
make the story
crazy.
cool.
I don't think I've ever gotten a message about Kim that was less than like one full screen worth of message.
Goodness.
Like it always takes some scrolling to like get through the whole lot, and this is like every time I get a message about him, not
he's
like a
pretty
once off.
crazy. We've had a lot of lore.
So, people I don't believe are real. Emma Chamberlain. I don't believe in Emma Chamberlain. I also don't believe in James Charles.
Real.
Joe Biden. XQC. Millie Bobby Brown.
That's a good one, actually.
Snoop Dogg. Like, the thing with
Alright.
Snoop Dogg is, like, I swear Snoop Dogg is just a concept. And then everyone's like,
No,
guys,
he's-
Snoop Dogg
he's
is
in
touring.
everything.
Yeah.
He's in everything. And
No,
honestly,
but,
that's
like,
what's the fun part
the
of
Does
it.
that
thing
mean
is-
you don't believe in Pitch Perfect 2?
No, but like the thing is, people would be like, "Oh my god, Snoop Dogg's coming," and I was like, "Snoop Dogg's a person, not a concept." Like, what do you mean? Like, Snoop Dogg is able to
No,
exist
he's
in the
just a
flesh.
guy.
And then, yeah, the last one I have is just the French.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that's
just
a good one. That's a
every
good one.
French.
Yeah. So far we've erased like 2 of the major colonial powers off the map.
Yeah, this is what happens when you get
go.
3 brown
Shout
people
outs.
in a podcast studio.
Real. Okay, I have a few. My number one is Grimes.
Yep.
Yep.
That woman is fake.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also.
Oh, you mean Elon Musk's ex-wife?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I also this isn't a specific person, but it is a category of people, which is people that regularly visit JCar.
What's that?
Yeah, that's fair.
This is
Like
the
the
thing-
electronic store. But also, I have my own beef with JCar, which is just buy your, like, if you want cheap Chinese electronics, AliExpress is like a tenth of the price and all the same shit. Just like,
But like,
buy
I
it
have
online.
never heard of someone be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to visit JCar now." Like,
Yeah.
never, not once.
Hi,
It's
Ren.
just a speed run on offending all of our guest visitors who are just.
I mean, I've been to JCar before several times, but I'm not like a regular visitor of JCar.
I used to be until I discovered AliExpress has all the same stuff at like a tenth of the price, and then I've stopped going.
So true.
Okay, any more?
Other ones I have are Ashley Best Dressed in this era now.
Yes, that's
like
fair.
she's not real.
Yeah.
Also, Max Verstappen is not a real.
Yeah, he's a
That's a good
robot
one.
in a.
Max Verstappen is fake.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Okay, I'm not an F1 person, so to me, he's just a cryptid.
Oh yeah, he looks like Sid from Ice Age.
Why are people worshipping Sid from Ice Age?
I was gonna say, doesn't every white boy?
Okay, that's a good one.
No further comment.
Look, this is silly hour. None of this. We can't be held.
Oh, we very much can.
Shh. This is very much. Just don't sue us, please. Okay, I guess I'll go next. I've already talked about Matthew McConaughey. I don't believe Pauline Hanson is real in that she looks like she's Polly, and I won't expound on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know
Alright.
that thing about how she was like modeling and selling all of her knitted sweaters to pay for a campaign?
Fucking what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show you the website sometime.
Please do. Okay, so who else do I not think is real? Do you guys... Okay, Rasputin.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
true.
That's
Actually,
fair.
the thing is, I don't believe he's real.
Shout out to
because
Boney M.
I've seen the photo of his mummified. You know what? I'm not gonna
Oh,
go
yeah.
into this anymore because I feel like this entire thing's gonna get
Oh
cut
my
out
god, guys, I
otherwise.
just thought of one. Can I add it?
Yeah, sure.
Charlie Puth.
Oh yes, that's
Yeah.
actually a really,
Okay,
really good one.
Okay,
That's
I'm
a
glad
really
you brought
good
that
one.
up. Charlie Puth and Shawn Mendes to me are Jekyll and Hyde. In that they're the same person. They inhabit the same body. They look the exact fucking same.
Yeah.
Okay,
But specifically Charlie Puth to me.
specifically. Okay.
No, I think that's a really good one. Pepsi,
that's
do you have
perfect.
any?
So wait, so only Shawn Mendes is real. Charlie Puth is
No,
not.
no.
Shawn
Neither of
Mendes
them
is
are real.
somewhere between not real and real to me.
They're one person.
Right. Okay.
They're one person, two personas.
No, but Shawn
Right.
Mendes' music is like good, whereas Charlie Puth's music is like
That's
not.
why it's like Jekyll and Dr. Hyde, where like when he's having a bad
I-
music day, he changes the pen name
I
to Charlie
disagree
Puth.
with
Oh,
that
sure.
statement. I believe it's the other way. I don't like Shawn Mendes' music, but I have enjoyed a few Charlie Puth songs.
You know what we should do a silly hour on? We should do a
That's-
silly hour on
that's so
Vine.
sad.
On like the MagCon people and shit. But anyways, that's besides the point. Pepsi, do you have any fake people?
Oh no, I just came here to rant about Newcastle.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
You're done. We
Okay.
can cut you off now. Mute your mic.
The last one I've said is activities / concepts. So
Rock
this is just
climbing.
whatever I did not. Okay, do you want to talk about
rock climbing. Why are you, as a human, deciding to rock climb? We evolved to get
off of trees and mountains for a reason. You are a disappointment to your genetics.
What if you're
Consider
a
the
lesbian?
humble elevator.
Okay, but lesbians have better things to do. Go back to carpenting, please. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, you
Yeah.
can.
Okay, great. Please go back to carpenting. Go back to doing DIY stuff. Get off those damn rocks.
Okay.
It's because you're always on those damn rocks.
Okay, Mia, do you have one?
I have a few.
Okay.
Number one is straight girls at Catholic school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not real. I additionally have any admin work that means that managers need to be off the floor in the middle of like a busy rush at a hospital job. Not real.
Yeah, that's true.
That work does not exist.
Yeah, no, it's just an excuse to not have to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's not real. I also have 26-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's very fair.
26-year-olds are not real. Hi, Zane. I additionally have the light rail. The light rail is not real.
Yeah, bring back the
disagree.
891 bus.
The light rail is very real.
Bring back the 891 bus.
The light rail is so real.
No.
The light rail
It's
doesn't
like
exist.
it's like a shitty Melbourne tram, and I say this as the resident
Okay.
Melbourner.
Okay, I would like to disagree. I mean, I'm not a Melburnian. I don't fucking know what you guys call each other. But I've been to Melbourne a couple times, and I will say I fucking hate their trams.
Oh, yeah.
The light rail is way better. Because here's my thing. It's just shite. I'm sorry.
That's because we have 50 of them. Like,
Yeah.
like, if you need to, like, it's just, if you've got to get to 50 different places, you take a light rail. Whereas here, if you just need to go to one specific area for 3 stops that are within walking distance from each other anyways, you take a light rail.
Yeah. I will say, though,
That's fair.
Melbourne trams are overrated. Having been to places with, like,
I will also
proper
say
public
Melbourne
transit.
is the most walkable city ever.
Oh, okay.
In
so
Australia,
100%.
yes.
So, like,
Yeah.
because of that, it's like 90% of the time I will just walk it, but I like that the tram is there as a backup. Like, I'm not a
Yes.
trammer. I'm somebody who goes, oh, fuck it, I guess I'll take the tram.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
things-
shout out to the free tram zone, though. That's pretty cool.
more things I don't believe in. Girls without ear piercings. Like, if you're a girl, I'm going to buy you earrings, and then when you go, I don't have my ears pierced. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have your ears pierced? And then, like, it's really awkward because I assumed you had ear piercings because what kind of girl doesn't have ear piercings? I feel like the silence in the room really speaks volumes on that one.
I'm trying to think of how many
I've done that
people-
accidentally before, so I don't necessarily disagree. I just like also wouldn't say that I.
I'm trying to think of how many people I know that fall under girl that don't have ear piercings.
How many people
and
do you know that fall under the category of girl Pepsi?
The
besides
problem
me?
is, all of them are non-binary now.
Exactly. Exactly.
There you go. Pepsi does not know any woman.
No, I know
So do women
Eleanor,
exist?
Alice,
Eleanor, Alice.
Me.
All of them are from the same household.
I'm not from the household. I count.
Yeah.
Okay, other things I don't believe in. People who have seen every episode of One Piece, you are lying. You are lying
Aren't there
to
like
That's a good
37
one.
seasons or some shit?
There's like over
There's
1,000
There's
episodes.
I think
Why?
it's like over 1,300. It's been going for way too long, and from what I hear, there's no development. It's just the same shit. Now, I will say a pirate kicking fascist ass is pretty great, but also wrap it up.
Also, what's the point of, like, what is the show?
One Piece.
What is it
You are on the
about?
quest to find the One Piece.
Okay, if you hasn't found it by now,
Like a One
Maybe
Piece.
the One Piece
swimsuit?
with the friends we made along
Yeah,
the
that's
way,
like the whole
guys.
concept of the show where it's like, guys, is the
Bullshit.
One Piece even real? Maybe it's the friends we... Okay. The last one I think is, if anybody would like to share anything before this, I think I want to leave the podcast on the last thing I don't believe is real because it's going to really tonally shift things and everything's going to be like, dear, get off the air.
Okay, great. Bald people, specifically Dom Toretto from Fast and Furious.
Oh,
Not a real
yeah.
person,
What's his name? Not
Vin
The
Di-
Rock. Yes,
Vin
Vin
Diesel.
Diesel. Vin Diesel's not real.
yeah.
not a real person. I'm sorry. Have you seen that man? He's a claymation character. Okay.
Yeah.
He's somebody took 2D art modeling and just plastered it over cardboard, and that's Dom Toretto. I'm not saying his acting is bad, by the way, when I say cardboard. I'm saying that he looks like if I were to go and prod his bald forehead, he would fall over like a cardboard cutout. And I fully believe that if Vin Diesel hears this, catch me outside, you won't. I mean, if he does,
How
I'll
many
probably
things
beat
that
on
we've
my
said in the
ass,
podcast
but-
today constitutes as death threats?
That is a great
guys,
question.
Everything here is in Minecraft.
Yes.
Just like in
Yeah.
general. Anything we say here is
There
in
are
Minecraft.
many here that I would love to say, but I don't think I'm allowed.
I think
to.
everything else we can say off air because I
Yeah.
would love to share my full list. Does anyone have any more or shall I wrap it up?
People who unironically enjoy cars. You're just a horse girl who decided to move on to being capitalist.
No, I agree. But also, as someone who enjoys cars, turbo go. Vutututututu.
Right, but I'm specifically talking about people who instead of like
I
the
think there's
very
a difference
simple
between liking
of,
cars and liking Formula One. Liking
You
Formula One
can't.
is not about
You
getting
can't put a you can't put a turbo on a horse.
I'm not talking about.
That's
Formula
my
One here.
argument.
I'm talking about people who
Like,
are like.
car guys.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
capital
like-
C car
But you
guys.
can't put a turbo on a
People
horse.
who are obsessed with like the make of cars. Like anybody who can name me what a specific part of a specific car
That's
is
me.
and does.
That is very much
I had
me.
a
You're not
friend in
real.
high school like that, and she was just very, very like autistic, and that was like her special interest. And like it was just like she would just info dump about it, and it was actually really wholesome.
Yeah.
I just did not understand any of it.
Yeah. My only counter argument is you can't put a turbo on a horse.
My counter argument is you can and you should and be very funny, and the horse would love it.
Horses
I'm not
get
sure that's
really
true.
scared really easily. I disagree with you there.
Yeah, but they love to
Dia,
run.
Do you want to tell us your last one?
Okay, the last thing I refuse to believe is real is men who don't cheat.
Okay, I've talked to Dia about this.
No, okay, we do not need an intervention on the podcast, guys.
yeah,
that is the
we're
end
not-
of Silly Hour.
We're not doing any intervention here, but
Does
please
that
seek
count as
therapy.
defamation?
No, no, it does not. Prove me wrong.
All right. Well, this has been a silly hour. I don't really have anything else to say at the end of that because you were right. That did totally shift everything.
Oh, I do have a bar to take us out on.
Sure.
This is actually Pepsi. It's actually Pepsi.
Yeah.
Do you want to say the
Alright.
bar?
Oh yeah. No,
wait,
you can
let me-
have it.
Okay. In the podcast studio, straight up recording it, and by it, let's just say, my podcast.
No,
Wade.
that's it. I'm cutting it off there.
All right. This has been a silly hour. Thank you for joining us. Moving on to the next segment. Welcome to our final segment for this week's podcast. We're going to be going over the recent SRC meeting, which was covered by Noise, by the very two people I have in the studio with me right now, Mia and Marcus.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
So Marcus and I did the live coverage this time around. You probably recognize Billy's name from the actual written coverage that we released as an article. But Marcus and I did all of our story posting this time around.
Which I was following very intently. I was up very late.
Oh,
watching you
I was
send
up until
all of-
4 a.m. putting those stories up, and
I was
believe
up-
me, I am
I
not
was
doing
up
that again.
with you. I was like refreshing every 30 seconds waiting for a new update.
Yeah, crazy stuff, hey.
It was very interesting to say the least.
It was very, very interesting, Afnan. I think the one thing that made this SRC meeting so interesting is the fact that it was the first in-person meeting that I've ever seen of this SRC.
Right.
That's the first in-person meeting for a long time.
I believe this SRC met last year as well, and that was their
This
very
SRC
first.
met in December last year for their
Yes.
first meeting. This was the
that-
second
was
meeting
that
of this
done
SRC.
online, or
Yes,
was-
that was done online.
All right, so this was very much the first time we had all of these people in one room together, all these clashing personalities.
Yes.
How did that go?
Well, it certainly went. I think the thing about this year that's so different is like we are used to having a Salt Labour like 2-ticket plus a few independents SRC.
Very
whereas
much like a microcosm of Australian politics.
Yeah,
with
a little
two
bit.
larger groups talking it out with the smaller independents.
yeah, essentially. And so like this year's SRC is really different because having so many new tickets on the SRC brings a very different feel and a different flavour to what's going on, and also it means that like the negotiations look so different and the alliances look so different, and so having those extra tickets there really like changes the game a lot for how this SRC runs, and we definitely saw that in the SRC meeting. Marcus, I'd love to jump to you. I would love to know how you felt this being your first ever SRC meeting as a new Noisy.
Absolutely. So you mentioned about this being the first in-person meeting for this SRC. For me, this was the first SRC meeting I'd ever attended, ever really thought about in that great amount of detail. It was... So I didn't know all that much going in, I'll be honest. It was long, I think, was my initial takeaway. I'm not sure if they normally go for 3+ hours, but it was long.
I would say 3 hours is on the longer end, but it's not unheard of at all.
All right. Beyond that, I think, I mean, it was certainly entertaining, and they're very passionate, I think.
Yes, they definitely are.
which is admirable to an extent, but then at the same time, it's just a lot.
Yeah, I think a lot is definitely a way to describe it as a first timer, but also, so I heard from Dia that she was looking over at you while doing this. Apparently you had a smile on your face the whole time.
Oh, did I?
So I'm not saying that you necessarily enjoyed it, because I think it's a hard thing to enjoy, but I'm wondering if you found some kind of interest there, like in it being entertaining of some description.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm very fascinated by, I guess, just democratic systems and politics in general.
Sure.
So this being,
I think I am too.
Yeah, this being
And also,
just
I
a
love a bit of
microcosm.
entertainment. I'm like a long time Oniswa, like story watcher. I'm really sad that they've taken away story coverage and they're only doing it on Twitter now, because I don't want to have to go on that app. Well, Twitter X, you all know what I mean. I refuse to call it X. So I am like a long time, very interested person when it comes to like SRCs, and I love watching every papers coverage when they do SRC coverage, because I think it's so interesting how different the SRCs are to each other. And so I love like watching our SRC as well, and knowing all these people and knowing what it's actually going to affect. It feels like so different to me. I wanted to just chat as well really quickly about some of the new charter changes that were brought up in this SRC meeting, because that's a bit new and something that we haven't really spoken about before, because this is the privilege of being on a new SRC, is that you kind of get to reinvent the charter essentially, or DIA does, I guess. The thing that
president only has so much power, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it has to go through ARC and it has to be approved, but like, I have never been around to see that change before, so it's interesting to learn about the new charter changes. The one that I'm really interested in is that, I wrote this on the stories as well, previously students such as the education officer and the Indigenous officer had to work with like NUS for the education officer, which is the National Union of Students, and Noragili, which is a like Indigenous like students group as well. And now the charter has been changed that if you choose not to work with them, you're not in violation of it, which I think is really interesting, because like I know there has been some concern in the past over like the actual efficacy of those groups. And so being able to make your own decisions about who you work with and why, I think is really helpful as a person on that council. So I hope that that like opens them up to some more interesting endeavors as well, and making their own choices in that way, while also supporting students. And then the other thing about the charter changes that I think is super interesting, and I'd love to hear both of your thoughts on, is that DIA has changed the charter so that when you put forward a motion, there is a test for dissent. So dissent means like if anyone opposes the motion. And if there is no dissent, then the motion is moved unanimously without question and with no debate. And personally, as someone who hates to sit there for 3 fucking hours, I think it's great. I mean, like, we had to sit there for 3 hours regardless with this charter change, but if we can, like, lighten that load a little bit, I think that's excellent. But also there were some people on the council, namely Jamie Tyers, who was not very happy with that change, because he wants to have those discussions in the time. And also he did say that he thinks that it's important that movers be given more than 2 minutes to actually, like, broaden their case. Personally, I think that if there's no dissent, then you don't need to speak about it. Everyone agrees. Like, you don't even need to have the chat in the first place, if that makes sense.
Right. I think that is a very interesting point to bring up. Because what this is sort of doing, it's getting rid of the option to abstain, essentially. I mean, if everybody abstains, then there really isn't a discussion left to have, you know? So...
I mean, abstaining is still dissent. Like, that counts as dissent.
Right. Okay, well, that's an interesting... but in terms of, like, the analogy that I was sort of proposing is, you know, if you're not going to outright say that I'm against this motion, and if everybody's sort of sitting quietly about it, it's much more efficient to just...
It's very
pass it
efficient.
along.
I mean, I know, like, other universities will move... Like, SRC councils will move motions on block. So, like, move a whole set of motions together and essentially set a motion to move all these motions.
Right.
And sometimes it works, and obviously sometimes it doesn't, and then you have to go through them all. So I think this makes it a little easier to... If one person happens to not like one motion in the set of motions you're moving on block, to, like... not have that issue and just test each motion for dissent each time. I think that's really helpful. And again, it's great for us people who are sitting there trying to, like, actually explain what's happening in the meeting, to not have to fucking sit there for 8 bloody hours.
For sure.
You know? It's a big deal. It's a big change. And personally, I really hope it stays. I understand that a lot of people have issues with it, but I would love that change to stay. I think it just like streamlines the process so much.
I agree. From what I saw, even with the changes, it seemed like a lot of people were using the platform and the opportunity to sort of just apothesize about their like ideological position in a way that didn't significantly move forward
and I guess that's from all sides as well. Like, we are not speaking about one particular person here. That happens a lot on the SRC and always has from every side of it.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, to any listeners who haven't already read the coverage on the SRC, go check it out. It's on the Instagram page. It's on the website. Please go read it. Support your local independent journalists. You guys have any funny closing remarks? I mean, I was looking through all the coverage again. I noticed that there were a lot of very strong clashing personalities. I'm not going to name any of them for fear of defamation. I've been warned about defamation going into every episode so far. So I have to sort of temper my tongue. But I will say, again, as you said earlier, Marcus, everyone is very, very passionate. And despite my own personal opinions or any grievances, I think it's really lovely to see that everybody who comes in here at least comes from a place of strong personal or ideological belief. Personally, I believe if you're trying to be a leader or representative, if you come in with any sort of wishy-washiness, it really undermines your actual ability to lead.
Yeah, I think that's quite true.
Yeah.
I guess some funny moments of this SRC council. Why am I saying SRC council? That stands for council. Of this SRC.
ATM machine.
That's so true.
Rat test.
I guess... I mean, Luke Cox is such a personality, just straight out the door. I'm going to name him and shame because it's not even a shame. He is such a personality. You know, he brings, again, what Marcus was saying, that passion to the table, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, like, a lot of what he had to say, I don't personally necessarily agree with, but it doesn't make his delivery any less funny. And him getting into a bit of a fight with our queer officer, Alice Keisha, was really funny to me as well, about HRT and how long she should wait to be back on HRT for the inquiry to come through. That was hilarious. I think my other favourite funny moment was when I saw Brendan Tate from SALT out of the corner of my eye trying to change the thermostat, except it looked like he was bashing his head against the wall for like out of the corner of my eye, of course, in my peripheral vision, but I thought that was really funny. And I did put that up on the story as being like, me too, my guy, I feel that vibe. I would love to bash my head against the wall right now.
2 hours into any meeting, I would also be bashing my head against
absolutely, that's how I felt. Otherwise, I don't know, there was a lot of like fighting and jabbing and
I mean, when is there not?
Heckling.
We're talking about...
I mean, that's the thing about like in-person SRC is like heckling happens now. You can't, you don't have to like physically unmute yourself to speak, and you can't be muted by like the president, for example, on the Zoom call. Like, you can just fucking call out whenever you want to. So a lot of people did do some heckling.
Just sort of question to both. Do you think in that case some sort of moderation would be?
I mean, the safer spaces policy exists for that. I think the thing about like most SRCs is that every SRC in person deals with heckling. That's pretty normal.
Just in Parliament as well, like that.
Yeah,
in all of those sorts of organisations, that's a very common.
And
feature.
as Dia always says, like the SRC is just LARPing Parliament, basically.
Yes. Yes.
It's literally that. Like, people just go there to like LARP Parliament. So, you know, Afnan from TTG Soc will understand LARPing quite well.
I am a very big fan of LARPing. Please, this is completely unrelated. We're going to be putting up a second fund on the Noise website to help fund me to get a full set of plate mail. If everybody could just donate.
Oh, that's
$20.
fun, man. I think we need to buy real noise supplies first and maybe pay our editors.
Yes. Once we actually get like a proper source of income and become a non-profit, then we can focus on getting myself
For now, we are entirely student-run and funded. To go back to some other funny things, I want to say that Billy and I wore fun Trump shirts because there were some Trump motions that came up. Billy, who does the written coverage, and I doing the story coverage, we both came in like fun little shirts that had weird little Trump things on them. So go to the story highlights if you want to see our fun little Trump shirts. They were quite fun. And I think that's half the reason that no one had a go at me, like asking my questions, because I was wearing a shirt that they recognized as being funny. So. And like also, well, yes, but that and also that I was agreeing with them.
Right.
So I think that helps. What are some other funny moments?
I did want to just ask, because this being the first in-person one for this SRC, I know you talked about the heckling and such, but
yes.
I recall, I think it was Jamie Tyers saying something about like we're much nicer in person.
Right. Yeah.
Is that accurate? Or like, is it more, I guess, civil in person or online in your experience?
It's a little hard to say. I have seen some really boring SRC meetings where there hasn't been a single debate. I have seen some online SRC meetings go so awry it's not even funny. I would say that this one was pretty in the middle in terms of how bad it can get. So I think I'd like to see a worse SRC meeting to know if it could get bad. But I wouldn't say it was good. I'm not going to say it was nice, because it wasn't, but it wasn't awful either, I guess.
Right. People
at least from my perspective.
Any new hatreds for each other.
No, not at all. It wasn't like, yeah, no, I've seen much worse.
Reintroduce the right to duel and just see some of these SRC leaders have a proper go at each other.
Take to the stand, issues. Yeah. I think the other thing to mention along what you're saying is like, Dia is using her ability to give out safer spaces policy violations quite a lot more now.
Yes.
And that does help. In terms of like keeping things civil and keeping people from attacking each other. Not that they won't do it anyway, but it like does help to some extent.
Right. I did see that a couple of violations were talked about.
Even given to people that are not part of the SRC.
Which honestly is a very, very good point. I mean, this is just about general journalism and media coverage, but I've seen many journalists use their opportunity to just say some very nasty things straight to somebody's face in these sorts of
yeah, I mean, think about how real Parliament goes.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And, there's a time and a place for that. If you want to talk smack to somebody in front of their face, just go work for a tabloid.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So true. I mean, we're not a tabloid, but we can be. I guess that's what Silly Hour is to some extent.
That is what Silly Hour is to some extent.
Speaking of which, Silly Hour coming up next.
Or before.
My bad.
Yeah.
Time is a human construct.
Exactly. Everything is everything.
Everything is relative. I believe I was talking to a couple of the others and to Pepsi, one of our lovely coordinators. We were thinking of sort of like bringing in some more lighter articles because there were a lot of like really like doom and gloom kind of.
I guess SRC is a bit of a doom and gloom time as well.
It could be fun to see sort of a new direction, but we are going really off topic.
We're going so off topic.
I'm just gonna rein this in. Thank you, Marcus and Mia, for joining me. Mia,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was lovely having both of you here to chat, and I look forward to the next time we're all on the mics and speaking about the very next SRC meeting.
So true, man. So true.
It's gonna be great. All right, and we're gonna leave it right there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Make Some Noise podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed Silly Hour today. As always, please go check us out on Instagram or on the Noise at UNSW website, which is typed exactly how it sounds. If you'd like to help support the podcast or the publication in any way, we have donation links. Please go actually put some money in there. We're very broke. We're a non-profit. We believe in independent student journalism, and therefore we will never be for-profit, which means we are funded fully by our own money and by yours, so please support us. If you can't do that or you don't want to, which is totally fine, please just read our stuff, share it with everyone you know, and if you want to, please join us as well. Once again, thanks for listening, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks' time.